Hi everyone, it is June. My god, it's June 2nd. I'm recording this. I honestly can't believe it's June. I feel like people say that they can't believe it, but Jesus Christ. I'm defending in like 2 months. I have to have my dissertation submitted in like a month's time. So naturally I have about 10 books to show you that I would hopefully be reading. Seriously though, it's the summer. It's a beautiful day, beautiful time, which means more biking, which also means more reading. So I do think there's a path forward. I recognize even when I'm working hard that sometimes I need to relax. I was on a strict deadline, like the day of. Sometimes you just wake away for an hour or so, you make time. And so I'm hopeful here. I'm especially hopeful for next week, because next week is the Readathon. This entire month, however, I'm treating as queer because it's Pride Month, and that's part of why I really want to enjoy this month. But I'm behind in my reading and behind in my videos. I have not given you much to watch. That which I have given lately has been either reviews or wrap-ups or TBRs. I'm doing my best here, but I'm excited. I will say there are a couple books here that aren't queer. That's just because I'm carrying them over from last month. And in fact, there are a lot of books here, even those that are queer, that came from last month because I did not read as much as I wanted to. So let's start with the books that I'm actively reading from last month. First up is a book that I haven't gotten very far in, Priya Sharma's Orm Shadow. This is basically like a historical fiction type fantasy story with homages to, not Shirley Jackson, Ursula K. Le Guin. This was interesting. It's on audio, so it's hard, especially when I've been so busy, to sit down and just read as opposed to just do something else and listen to something. But I do want to get to this. It may end up being in my TBR for months, but I'm not putting it down off this TBR until I read it. I just gotta, make a point to pick it up. It's just really hard, especially when it comes to things like that. That said, I did pick up and start reading Parable of the Talents, book 2 of the Earthsea duology by Octavia Butler. I had hoped I could squeeze it in for the end of the month. I originally planned to read it for the Octavia Butler slow read, and then I missed it. I was like, I'll still read it because I want to watch the recap. And I realized there was no recap. Turns out the live show been pushed back to July 31st. Which is great because now I can catch up. I love this series, honestly. This book is arguably one of my favorites of all time. And I don't say that lightly. Like on the second reread, my second read of it, rather, my first reread, it's proven to be spectacular. Which I wasn't expecting not to be. I really, really adore this series for everything that it does. Even though it's very triggering when it comes to the religion, it's very satisfying. Now onwards to, I'm going to change it up. I was going to give you the ones from last month that I'm carrying over. But instead I'm going to start with the books I plan on reading specifically in the week of the Queer Lit Readathon. And I'm hoping, I really want to get a vlog up for y'all. I know I can at least record it, that's easy. But whether I can get it out fast, I've been really bad about that in the last 6 months or so. But I'm hoping I can do that, get it out to you, get a quick turnaround. Also because, I had the Westworld reading vlog that I never posted. I was going to wait till the Westworld came back because that comes out late June. So I have to get that up at some point too. So a lot of vlogs coming, hopefully, which means at least some different content. But anyways, the TBR I'm thinking for Queer Lit Readathon. Honestly, at first I wasn't going to try and participate in the Queer Lit Readathon, at least not directly, because I didn't think I could do the challenges, as I didn't want to change my TBR too much. And the challenges are actually really hard to try and satisfy with the books that I want to read. But with that said, I managed to figure out how to get a diagonal, get a connection. So what I want is a tic-tac-toe. That's not what we're playing. I want a bingo. I want bingo. First up, I'm going to be aiming for this little diagonal. As you can see it, I probably could line. First one's going to be a romance. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. This is one that I wanted to read last month. I didn't get to it, but rest assured, I will read this during that vlog. It'll be so exciting to be able to vlog my experience reading that. I was going to do a standalone review, but if I do the vlog, I'll just do that instead. And I'll be having so much fun talking about that. I've loved Quickie and Mezzi, and I'm looking really forward to this book. I adored their book. All the books I've read so far. I think it's only 2, but still, the other book, the first one I read was Death of Vivek Oji, which I felt was his own romance story. I wonder if this will be happier if it's advertised as explicitly romance. I don't know. I don't do romance, but still, obviously, I'm excited for that one. Next one is a nonfiction queer book, and that's going to be To Be a Trans Man. And this is a set of essays, or really, it's just a nonfiction book from the perspective of different trans men, but I think it's being translated or communicated to us through one primary writer. That is the author, Ezra Woodger. And this is a description, basically. Men in all stages of this transition have come and gone from my life. Each one has been entirely different. It's difficult to feel as if you failed at being a man when you know there isn't a singular right way to be one. In this illuminating, radically honest book, Ezra Woodger interviews trans men and trans masculine people to interrogate what masculinity is and what it means to be a man. Covering a wide range of topics from dealing with judgment and expectations, both external and internal, to the experience of gender dysphoria, or euphoria rather, finding a community and the growth and openness that trans inclusive spaces can provide. The stories in this book highlight the power of being true to who you are. I had wanted to read this at some point, and I wasn't sure if I'd fit it in this month, but honestly, it sounds extremely interesting. I'm really excited to get this sort of analysis of what does it mean to be queer, to be masculine rather, and how that fits into a queer identity, I think is what we're going to be exploring. And I think it's going to really resonate with me in a lot of ways. It's not an audio, but I have the E arc from NetGalley, I should say that's an arc, and I'm probably going to end up using text-to-speech to get through it, because I know I mentioned I already have one I'm not going to be using by eye. Unless it proves to be extremely academic in nature, which isn't the vibes I'm getting here, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm usually okay with that. I know some people are like, text-to-speech, what the fuck, what's wrong with me? But, sometimes I take the forms of consumption that are most compatible for me. Anyways, and then we have two more here. Oh, I know, a new to me author. And a lot of these are actually new to me, but I really am excited to be reading Emily Newitt's Future Over the Timeline. I didn't realize when I bought this book, they're a non-binary author, and I think it's also a queer story in general, and I love time travel. I've been holding off on this because it's one of those books that I see on my shelf, and I have really high expectations for it, so I'm just hesitant to pick it up. Just one of those books I want to let sort of marinate on the shelf before I get to it. And now that I am, you rest assured, I think I'm going to love it. I guess it's one of those books I don't really know if I'm going to love it, but I expect to, and if it turns out to be the case, I will, of course, fall in love with the author as well, which is why I think it'd be really fun to analyze and discuss. Whether or not I love it or not, I have high expectations. I have strong feelings going in, which means I'm inevitably going to have strong feelings one way or the other, whether it be disappointment or excitement. I'm here for it. Well, I guess I should tell you what this is about, actually. 1992, a confrontation at a Riot Girl concert. 17-year-old Beth finds herself in a car with a friend's abusive boyfriend dead in the back seat, agreeing to help her friends hide the body. 2022, determined to use time travel to create a safer future, Tess has dedicated her life to visiting key moments in history and fighting for change. But rewriting the timeline isn't as simple as editing one person or event. Tess and Beth's lives intertwine as war breaks out across the timeline, a war that threatens to destroy time travel and leave only a small group of elites with power to shape the past, present, and future. If you think about that, makes me think I'm still going to love it. So, we're good to go. And then the fourth one is a question mark, and I'm unsure how I want to approach this. Because in some ways, I'm thinking of using it as an immigrant story and reading The 30 Names of Night, which is by the trans Syrian author, and this is actually about a trans boy in the story coming to terms with his own transgenderness. I think dealing with the death of his mother and his painting, and I think he's seeing his ghost of his mother. That's what I remember from reading the synopsis. That's all I'm going to get into. But I'm not sure, because I also really want to read and talk about Brown Girl in the Ring by Neil Hopkinson, and I will be reading both of these this month. There's no doubt about that. So whether or not I can fit, I'm sure I can't fit more than 4. If I can't fit 4, it's a question if I want to make this one work. Because I could call this, this category could be mythological. But it kind of fits into retelling, but also fits into sci-fi fantasy on the board too. That doesn't give me bingo. I'm kind of leaning towards this because I'm in the mood to go to things that I love, which is sci-fi fantasy. But I'm gravitating between the two of those. And if by some miracle I do read more than 5, more than 4, then I will. Otherwise, this is the one I'm probably more inclined to read right now. For that last category to get bingo. And for this one, we have the rich and the privileged have fled the city, barricaded it behind roadblocks, and left it to crumble. The inner city has had to rediscover old ways, farming, barter, herblore. But now the moneyed need a harvest of bodies, and so they prey upon the helpless of the streets. With nowhere to turn, a young woman must open herself to ancient truths, eternal powers, the tragic mystery surrounding her mother and grandmother. She must bargain with gods and give birth to new legends. And I'm here for it. I've loved Neil Hopkinson. I found her short stories set up really fascinating worlds, but not quite as well executed as her larger works. That's based off of one short story collection in one book. So we'll see how that anecdotes expand as the data set grows. But my point is that I'm excited for this. Okay, anyway, so that is the books for Queer Lit Readathon explicitly. And I also already told you the two arcs I was already planning on reading that I didn't read in May. So another book that I haven't read that is queer as well, but won't be read during the Quilt Readathon is going to be The Devours by Readathon. This is essentially a werewolf story. I thought about it a lot, and I'm psyched to get to it. Let's see. On a cool evening in Calcutta, India, college professor Alec encounters a mysterious stranger who reveals part of an extraordinary story. Tantalized by the man's unfinished story, Alec will do anything to hear its conclusions. So Alec agrees. At the stranger's behest, the transcriber skins. From these documents spills the chronicle of a race of people once more than human, yet kin to beast. Ruled by instinct and desires, blood deep and hate is old, the lone woman who dares to fight him. So yeah, it's a horror book. This is one of those books that will sit on my TBR for the rest of the time until I read it. I will no longer be putting it off. It will forever be on the next month if I don't get to it. But I plan on getting to it. I said that last month. But last month was just a special month because I didn't read nearly as much as I wanted to. I was traveling. It was just really hard. And I'm not traveling this month, even though I am busy. You know, it's different when I have my own routine and I'm at home. And when it's beautiful and sunny. Now let's continue, because I do have several of the books that I want to get to. It turns out I have a lot of trans and non-binary authors. It wasn't intentional, but a lot that I want to get to. First off is Dreadnought by April Daniels, book one in the Nemesis series. This is a YA book about a trans girl who gets superpowers after a hero dies, and they sort of gain those powers. I don't quite know a lot about it, and I might not have picked it up by myself, but it was given to me by Onyx Pages. Really grateful. I was really grateful for it. I'm not sure I ever actually said that on the screen, so this is my time thanking her. Thank you if you're watching this. I'll make sure I tag her below so you can check out her channel. But again, I think this will be interesting, and because it's YA, I don't have it's going to be too difficult, hopefully. That's what I need right now. I'm busy. That's why you see a lot of sci-fi fantasy here. That's my comfort read, right? I need things that are comfortable right now, and that is okay, I think, honestly. I've been in a slump in May for a number of reasons, not just because I'm busy, but like it's one of those things where I'm busy so I have less time, but on top of that, I can recognize that there are moments where I could have been reading that I chose not to. I think it was the books that I was reading's fault. So I don't want to get like caught in that slump because it's a pattern thing and it's so easy to get caught in there. So hopefully this month will prove differently. So far it is. Like I'm almost done with my reread of A Parable. So right now I have to figure out what I want to read next. We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchison, an alien book, also YA. I think I'm reading this because I've heard great things about it on book 2. Specifically, I think originally from Books on Lala, but it's sufficiently popular, kind of like with other YA books that I've been hesitant to pick up, that I think it will probably be effective, even though I'm a little hesitant when it comes to science fiction. YA, I don't always trust them to do it effectively. But like I said, I'm hoping this will work out. It's about a scientist, or a boy, maybe both, who gets picked up by aliens, and eventually the aliens are like, yo, Earth's gonna die. I can help you save it, or not. And there's apparently a conflict about whether or not he should do it. And I don't quite know what it is. It might have to do with maybe homophobia, maybe it has to do with him being belittled. I'm hoping and expecting them to set up the problem and help me understand why it's such a difficult question to be answered, and why he would struggle with that. Because that seems to be what's happening from the setup in this book. And then next up, we have Sarah Gailey's Upright Woman Wanted. An author that I don't think I've ever actually read, maybe a short story, and I'm really eager to try out their longer works here. So let's see what it's about. Esther is a stowaway. She's hidden herself in the librarian's book wagon in an attempt to escape the marriage her father has arranged for her. A marriage to the man who was previously engaged to her best friend. Her best friend who she was in love with. Her best friend who was just executed for possession of resistance propaganda. The future American Southwest is full of bandits, fascists, and queer librarian spies on horseback trying to do the right thing. They'll bring the fight to you. So, a queer love story with a library on wheels, and I think it's like a dystopian future. I am here for it. Also, I just realized Sarah Gailey has some type of dark hair, and for some reason I always imagined them as having blonde hair. I don't know why. It was just a picture I had in my head. But anyways, I will say there was another book that I had on here and we're moving because I don't think I'll be able to read it. And this one, because I think it's going to take me all month, if not longer. Meaning, I know how I'm going to be when it comes to reading, just sitting down and doing one thing, which is just reading and not thinking about other things. That's not going to happen a lot. If it does, I'll be exclusively to this. Other than that, that's everything that I'm reading. If I get other stuff, that's great. Probably will gravitate towards some more arcs. But for now, this is it. And I'm really excited for this month. I think it's going to be great. I'm so excited for Pride Month. I should also mention that I'm technically participating in the Golden Girls I don't know, round 9 book readathon challenge. It's basically where you're in a group and you pick a girl you want to represent and you try to meet those challenges, and the people with the highest points in their group wins. I don't know if I'll make a vlog. Maybe I'll make a video when everything's said and done about my progress. I don't know. But I did want to participate in some way, even though I'm already participating in this, and another vlog going up later this month as well for Westworld. Which, if you're not caught up, you have time to watch Westworld, by the way. I'm just saying. Other than that, I do want to say, I know I'm behind on my videos, and I already mentioned that, but I want to invite, I guess, requests. Do you have a type of videos you like? I haven't made tags because honestly, it's not something I get that invested about. I don't know how much people actually care about what I have to say. So tell me, what kind of videos do you want to see from me? Particularly those of you who've been around for a long time, you know who you are. I am especially interested in what you had to say. Are you happy with what I'm doing? Like if you could see more of something, what would it be? More vlogs? You probably won't get that many more, but I can at least try to stick to the ones I have. More reviews, just more tags, more discussion videos, which I try to make tag videos out of discussion videos, or vice versa. I would really appreciate it if you had some commentary there, because I'm in a bit of a slog reading, and with just being really busy, it's hard to feel motivated to do work. And so if there's something that I think you might be interested in specifically, I think it will motivate me to be more active on BookTube. So I appreciate that if you have any comments. Other than that, hope you stay safe and have a great Queer Pride Month. And as always, goodbye.